I apologize. As you can see, I'm doing my confession at the same time. I have children, and I am not ashamed to be doing this confession for my children. I don't hide anything from my children because I want them to know the things that can happen in life, the things that have happened in life, the mistakes and decisions I made. I want them to learn from it. And I think what made me a better mother is being open and being there for my children, knowing that they can be about anything. As I was saying before, I am not mad at anybody who has doubt. I mean, yeah, I've learned to understand that for hold in, and I know I'm not alone. But there are people who hold in the same burdens for so many years, maybe people older than I who held in these burdens a lot longer than I have. That doesn't make them a liar. It doesn't mean that the incidents never occurred. Just when years have gone by, it's very hard to prove that those incidents have occurred. Luck for me, though, the world of technology and Facebook, maybe this thought that he friend requested me July 2nd, 2010. And the other day I wondered, if I scroll all the way down my messages, would I still find that in my message? And the fun is, I found it. I found exactly the conversation that would back me up on my post that I posted the other day. Now, without that evidence of the confession or his words telling me that he's sorry for being the animal that he was, it wasn't me that was the problem, it clearly was him. If I didn't have that conversation and post that, then I can understand people wouldn't believe me. Understand people turning against me and thinking, but let me ask you one thing. Between the age 14 and 35, why would I all of a sudden decide to choose that person? Why, of all the people, why would I say, okay, I think I'm going to choose him to make up this twisted, incident? Think about that, people. I mean, has that never ever occurred to you that from age 14 to now 35, and yes, I posted the other day, why would somebody make up such a thing? And of course with that person in general, if it never happened. The fact is, it happened. Okay? And yes, I know I said I'm not mad at people for doubting me. Because there are people who believe that that person is a good person. Again, I don't know what became of that person when, after the incident occurred. All I know is that he left town after that incident, and I said, like I said before, I don't give a rat's ass whatever happened to him. He could have been dead. What, as cold as this may seem to some people, I care. And maybe that's harsh for you to hear. Maybe you can't understand that if you're a friend of his. But you know something? If you lived in my shoes or anybody else to the same scenarios that I've dealt with in my life, me and those other victims will tell you right now, we would never wish that pain and emotional scarring on anyone, not on the worst enemy ever. I'm thankful for the conversation that took place January 2nd. And maybe there was one portion on that conversation that I may have not have posted, which is not going to incriminate me and make me look like a bad person. And I will tell you straight up now, for those of you who have read my posts, who know me personally or know of me, who've read that and reached out to me, the thing that I left was, in response to his request, the initial respect him was subject, really? After all these years, Josh, you're going to ask for a friendship? Do you not know after all these years what you took from me? Do you not realize you made my space in my own bed? It is different if we were people who consented to fooling around, but I was not one of them. What gave you the right to think that you come into my bedroom that morning and steal my innocence? It was after that first conversation, that first message, is where I posted his I am sorry, blah, blah, blah. Now, I have to say that after a while, there was a lot of people who did want to know who it was. And I was almost reluctant to put out any information because I didn't know where this would go. But then I thought, you know what? With everything I found out that same day, maybe it's best that I did put out this person and expose him, because maybe after me or even before me, maybe there were other females gone through the very same thing that I went through, or could have been potentially a victim and maybe got past it somehow or another. As going into adults, how do I not know there were other females in his lifetime that were abused or, raped by him? I don't know. I just know what happened to me. And I'm hoping that by me opening up, that maybe people realize that this is not a bullshit, nonsense lie. This is not for attention. This is me releasing my frustrations, my anger, the burdens that I've dealt with. And not one of you who have never been through it can possibly conceive the pain, the hurt, the emotional scar, the anger, the frustration that's to somebody. I refer to myself as like a book. I've said that saying, now people realize what the saying or the phrase means, don't judge a book by its cover. And one of the very next posts that I made after my initial post, because of the hearsay and the words and the comments and all the doubt, when I posted, I was like that book. And I'm sure that my past people have put a judgment toward me by either my looks, my attitudes, or my actions. As I once posted before, assume you know what that book is all about just by the looks of the cover. When you take time to open up that book, you may find yourself thinking twice about the judgment you initially had to begin with. Some may be like, oh my, I can relate, or oh my, I can't believe that someone can go through so much and carry themselves so well, or their baggage so well. I look at myself as that book, for I am 35 years old and there are 35 chapters in my story that have the bad, the good, the happy, and the sad moments that many can find themselves either connecting with. And yes, I opened up chapter 14, the unforgettable, the emotional, the disgusting incident occurred to me. I kept chapter 14 so hidden from many because I didn't know what to do. I thought it was my fault. It took much counseling, soul searching, and true friends to tell me that I must unleash the dark secret, and by doing so, I may feel and set free. This emotional pain never goes away. And those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know that pain never goes away. No matter how much you try to block it, you can never fully block the scarred moment. It has amazed me with the fact that by me posting my post the other day, I felt like a book in a library. There were books beside me that opened up in confidence. Those books who did, your confidence will always remain only for me to know. And I respect the opening of your stories. Related stories at that. And the point of my story is no matter what clique you ran with, no matter who you are, where you are, what you look like, please think twice before judging somebody else. Because you truly have no idea what personal issues that person may be facing on a day-to-day basis behind closed doors. Or whether it was past or as I speak right now. Somebody right now, this very moment in this world, is either being beaten, molested, murdered. It happens. It's reality. It's a sick, twisted world, and it's reality. And I'm just one of those statistics as many others are. Statistics, I apologize. Now, yeah, I may have hid all this for so long. It may have made me an angry person, a person. Besides all that, though, it's only a stronger person to want to fight harder for other women or victims, men, women. It made me a better mood to show my kids the right and the wrongs and what to look for, how to respect another, how to treat someone. Yeah, now a lot of you is looking at this that I was very discreet and I posted all this, but you know something? After realizing that some started suspecting what I was referring to, I decided, you know what? It's going to happen to me because the worst has already happened to me. It can't get any worse unless somebody kills me. And just so you all know, I tried doing that too, and I did succeed and reached much help for that. And yeah, that's my problem. But I'm not afraid to say that I've sought help for many emotional issues. But again, it wasn't my fault. I didn't ask for any of this. Just like they never asked for what they went through either. The persons that I had exposed to Facebook, you can deny all you want. You can say you don't know me. You can say you never knew me, but I'll tell you something. I have everything right here. And for my own protection, I have gone into my own local township to ask if anything that I've posted with the copies brought forth to those officers, is any of this wrong? It is the fact of something that occurred in my life in the past. And the person, and this is his confession, and am I at wrong? And clearly they said to me, he'd be a fool to come to the township. There's nothing on here that harasses him. It wasn't directed on his personal Facebook or wall. We have not had any contact. The last contact we had was July 2nd, 2010, when he tried to befriend me on Facebook, and I said, "Are you kidding me?" After I said the first post that I have mentioned before about really, how could you, he began to say, "I want to say this I can without destroying or harming you in any way and without you feeling any worse or hating me any more than you might, because I know some people still hate me for who I was. What I am about to tell you, only 3 other people know. God is one of them, my sponsor and a therapist is the other. I don't remember everything clearly back then. I was abused a lot, sexually, physically, and things seem to come as a blur to me from when I was a kid to way back to 2000. Why, I don't know. I know I did a lot of harm and hurt to a lot of people, path of destruction, and I have and I've been trying to make good for years with God by doing charity work and volunteer work. I even tried to take my own life at one point and almost succeeded. Why did I try to befriend you? To explain this to you and apologize for any hurt that I have caused you in the past. I'm not trying to give you a sob story or anything like that. I just want you to know who I was and what happened, and that you were not the problem, I was. If you would be dead, then so be it. I wish I could take back all the harmful things I said and did in the past. I've begun to feel like for the first time in my life in the past 7 years, and I want to continue to become a better person for years to come. If you can find in your heart to understand that I am not the I was then, and I would appreciate it and hope that someday you could look past the asshole I was and look at the fan I am. Really? No, I was not in Bayside. I lived in this area because I worked in this area. And if you need to know anything else, I go to church here and I do charities in this particular area and this particular. Some for needy, some for kids, some with cancer. And again, you need to know that I am not that thing you met years ago. I replied to him, "Well, I can relate because I too was sexually abused and had a life that I realized I was going through. I'm not sure what reputation I had in those days, but people believed I had been a certain type that put out, and I wasn't. I'm not sure what you thought of me as, but if you didn't know, you stole my virginity. I may have had boyfriends, yes, but I respected you enough to wait. You took that from me. If you haven't noticed, I was a fighter in school for all the time because of the shit I lived through. Not sure what to say to you about your life, but what I'm reading it is that of my own. Just you took a piece of me first. Now you think you can comment on that?" And he said, "No, like I said, I didn't want to hurt or upset you." So I replied to him, "Do you even remember anything that occurred then? You trying to say you didn't mean to hurt me or upset me? I'm assuming you must have done this to other girls too. Did they get apologies as well?" How do you feel reading that you took my virginity away and that you really don't care? And he replied to me, "I'm sorry that I've upset you when I contacted you. I know what kind of an asshole I was, just had no control. I need you to see dead after I have tried, trust me, on that. I've suffered with pain for years again. I know it doesn't mean shit, but I hurt I have caused." And I replied, "And yet, if you were to see me now," and that's July 2nd, 2010, "would you have approached me? Would you even be apologetic to? Looking at me, would you even recognize who I was to even say anything?" And he didn't reply to that, but the last reply he had to me was, "Listen, I hope you can believe me. Believe me, this I wish I 1,000 times over, since I don't believe in suicide in this way. or I don't believe suicide is the way. I try to be the person I can each day and help who I can help in life. I think you should know that. Well, listen. I find it in my heart to forgive him. And maybe he had a lot of personal issues that I wasn't aware of as well. But that didn't give him the right to invade me and take a piece of me that was not his place to do or consented. Again, when somebody says no to something, when you say stop it or get off or knock it off, whatever, it is rape. They succeed against the force of you saying no. It's rape. I don't expect any of you to understand. I don't expect any of you to believe me. This conversation alone is all the proof that I need. Because you know something, one of the foolish things that the officer said to me the other day was him trying to befriend me. And this, obviously, this conversation that I've had backs up everything of my initial posts. You just can't make up something like this in one day. You can't. And I even told the officers that if this person's ever wanted to pursue something, they have more than my able to go ahead of my Facebook and grab anything that they need to. I don't know what has become of that person. I don't really care what has become of that person. All I know is that there are many jerks and creeps out there just as he who have done this to many other people. And if you are a victim, if you are somebody that knows somebody, if you are somebody right now who is a victim, speak up. Don't wait 21 years to hold the burdens, because it does affect you in more ways than you can even imagine. I don't know what else to say, and a lot of you can laugh all you want to laugh at this, and some of you may be speechless. If I were in your shoes, I wouldn't even know what to think. But the fact is, I'm taking the time to share my story now. Better late than never. And I don't care that I waited 21 years. I'm letting it out now. So with this all being said, if you are a victim of abuse, if you know somebody who is possibly being abused, if you have a friend who is trying to con you, please give them the benefit of the doubt that they're trying to seek help and that they're trying to have somebody there for them, not walk away from them. I don't have anything else to say. I hope that by you listening to this, if you have listened to all this, that I've helped others, or maybe you can spread this to help else. I'd be glad if it was just even one person. Thanks for listening.